everyone, welcome back to the workshop. Artisan Pirate here, and in today's fun scroll saw project video I have another amazing Halloween design by Steve Good, and it is a pumpkin themed candy dish. Really cool. I've got all the pattern printed out and attached to our material with clear packing tape, and all the material in this project is going to be 1/4 inch plywood. And we are going to stack cut a couple pieces to save a little bit of time on scrolling. But right there we have the jack-o'-lantern's face already, and we're going to cut this out first, move the camera, paint this black to look like a jack-o'-lantern's face, and then we'll proceed to the rest of the project. There we have the bottom and the two sides, and you can see the tabs. So this is a tab project. Steve offers a lot of these, and it's key that you follow the cut line as close as you can. And there you see the front and the back of the pumpkin there with a nice little bat design on it. And I've already drilled all the pilot holes. This piece here is the only two pieces that will have internal cutting, and of course we're going to stack cut them. I just want to talk about tabs for a second. The 1/4 inch plywood I get from Lowe's, and as well as several other types of 1/4 inch plywood, are not exactly 1/4 inch. They are just a little bit shy or just a little bit over. I took careful measurements with a scrap piece here of the same material we're doing this project out of, and measured out all the tabs here. You can see where I've redrew the line with a fine point Sharpie there so I can see it. And what I'm going to have is this little scrap piece over by the scroll saw with me, and every time I do an internal cut here with the tabs, I want to go back and check and make sure everything is nice and snug before I do the final release cut to release both pieces from the waste wood. Since everything is prepared, let's move the camera over to the scroll saw so we can cut out the jack-o'-lantern's face, get it painted, and then proceed to the rest of the project. And over here at the scroll saw, we're going to begin by cutting out the pumpkin's face. We are stack cutting both faces at the same time for the front and back of the pumpkin box. I am using number 5 ultra reverse scroll saw blades, and they are cutting through both pieces of 1/4 inch material here exceptionally well with minimal chip out. I will use the same blade for the whole cutting process of the project. But once we get the face cut out, we will head over and spray paint the face black and let that dry while we are cutting out the rest of the project. But once we have a nice coat of paint on those pieces, we will head back to the scroll saw and begin cutting out the rest of the project. If you guys would like to try this pattern, it is available as a free pattern download over at Steve Good's scrollsawworkshop.blogspot.com website over in his free pattern catalog. Now I am cutting out the tabs, and you'll see me taking that little piece of the same thickness of material and test fitting it each time before I remove it from the scroll saw and proceed to the next one. I have always done tab designs in this manner, and all of my tab projects have always came out great and snug fitting. But just testing each one. Now we are going around and releasing the piece from the waste material, and we will proceed to cut out everything else. If you guys like what you're seeing, I would highly encourage you to subscribe to my YouTube channel, and also follow me over on Instagram at Artisan Pirate. I'd really appreciate the support. Cutting out the two sides now, which are also stack cut, so we'll cut out both at the same time, and cutting out the final piece here, which is the bottom piece. And then we can come over to the workbench and remove all the pieces and proceed to sanding. And using 100 grit sandpaper in the palm sander here, just giving it a nice sanding front and back of both pieces. And then we will head back over to the workbench and begin assembling the project. And I am using Gorilla Wood Glue here. It dries clear and creates a strong bond. And just lining up the tabs. The other pieces we painted black earlier are dry at this point, and I have them on the workbench as well. But once everything is fit together, I will clean up the glue squeeze out as best I can and let that dry around an hour. And then we will proceed to staining it with Minwax wood stain.
putting a nice coat on everything, and then I will wipe off the excess with a piece of t-shirt material. It always absorbs the excess stain real well. And I will put that on a hook to dry around an hour. And then once that's dry, we will begin by gluing on the face. And I will use CA glue for this. And as I said earlier, there is a face on both the front and back side. And I'll try to make them as symmetrical as possible on the front and back. But I let that dry around 5 minutes, and then it was time for clear coating outside with Rust-Oleum clear gloss. I gave it several coats and let it dry for around an hour, and then I brought it back into the workshop, and then the fun part began by adding the candy, and the project was complete.
And here we have the completed pumpkin themed candy dish cut out completely on the scroll saw, and it came out fantastic. Thank you, Steve Good, for another amazing design from your pattern catalog. It is already filled with treats, eagerly awaiting Halloween 2022, or just someone in general with a sweet tooth. I do not have one myself. I prefer apples and healthy fruits like that. But really, really cool, really amazing. The clear coat really brought everything together there at the end. And of course, filling it with goodies is always a joy. It only took me around 15 to 20 minutes to scroll everything out. It's not a very complex scroll saw pattern. It's just one of those patterns where you need to be as loyal as you can to the scroll saw cut line while you're at your scroll saw. And if you're as loyal as can be, everything should slot together there at the end like you've seen when I've done the assembly on this project. I do hope the little tip about having a scrap piece of the material you're trying to get into the slots was helpful to some people. This was something I just come up with to have on hand by the scroll saw instead of having to go back and forth between the workbench and the scroll saw, just to have it on hand while I'm scrolling. I do this technique a lot when I'm actually at my scroll saw when I'm doing slotted scroll saw projects, but really, really cool. Really, really amazing. I had fun making it, and I hope you guys like watching me make this. Another option for this would, of course, be to paint it, but another use for this could also be using it as a napkin holder. Looking at it, it seems to have the same size dimensions as traditional paper napkins that come in squares, and you can get at big box stores readily available. Looks like they would go down in here nice and snug, and you could have this on a kitchen counter or on the kitchen table. A lot of options for this, and a lot of options for a lot of scroll saw projects in general. But really, really cool. I hope you guys liked the video. If you're new here, please subscribe to the channel, and also follow me over on Instagram at Artisan Pirate. Links to all my social medias will always be linked down in the description box below these videos. That's about all for this one, and remember guys, if I can make it or do it, so can you. I'm the Artisan Pirate. Take care, and I'll see you guys real soon.